Hey everyone, this is my video for my final showcase. I'm going to be going over my blog that I made at the beginning of the semester and just kind of walking you guys through all the different projects that I created for class. I've had so much fun in this class, especially creating all the different resources that I know that I'll use in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you guys a little bit about each one. I only have a certain amount of time to record on Screencast-O-Matic, so go ahead and get started. My first post was obviously my introduction post, just introducing myself to the class. But the first thing I actually created was this Powtoon, a digital animation project. I just went ahead and made an introduction video for myself about myself for my future class, since I'm wanting to teach social studies or just world studies. I posted it on YouTube, and it was really fun using Powtoon. I'd never done that before, but I'm definitely going to do that in the future, and I think it'd be fun to have my students use it for something. But I thought this would be an easy way to introduce myself and to keep them interested. And the next one I made was a digital game. So I just made a space ping pong game. And let's see. Oh, I already have it up. I don't know why I did that. So I just made a space ping pong game, and I tried to make it harder by making 2 ping pong balls. But all they do is, try to keep them up. And I like this game because it reminds me of Brick Breaker a little bit. The games on the Blackberries and old phones. But I think that'd be fun if we were covering NASA or, any of the Apollo missions. I think that'd be fun to have them play if they got done with their assignments early. Let's see. And the next one I made is a web-based video delivery, and I created an Edpuzzle. What I did was took a lesson that I had made over monsoons. Excuse me. I took a lesson that I made over monsoons for when we cover India and that region, and I made it into an Edpuzzle. I don't know if you guys have used that before, but it's really cool. You can you can make or put different questions for your students. So I did multiple choice and short answer. Let's see, my first one is just open-ended, so I asked them to define monsoons, and I already did that. And then
hello everyone. Today we are going to
just do your lesson, and this is really good for flipped classrooms or flipped lessons. And I would definitely use this with my students. I would have them watch this video and answer the questions before they came to class so that they can get the introductory material out of the way before they come to class, and then we can go more in depth, because I want them to know what monsoons are, but it's also important for them to know why those are so important to the people that live there. So I really like Edpuzzle, and I recommend it to anyone. So that was my web-based video delivery. And let's see, my next project that I made was the QR code project, and this one was so fun to make. I did it over a lesson I had made over Krystalnacht. I'd never made QR codes before, but they're so easy, and I think students would like that they could bring out their phones to do it, to scan the codes. So I made 6 different stations, and since it's over a historical event that happened in the Holocaust, I included just an introductory video, but I also included testimony first of witnesses that survived Krystalnacht. So I had 2 videos of that in the stations. I did a map showing where it occurred and asking them map questions. I included primary sources like the telegraph sent out by Heydrich and a diary entry. And I had 7 stations, sorry. And I also did a timeline so that they could, 8 stations, wow. So I did a timeline, and I had them look at images from that event so they could really get a full perspective of what happened. And that one was one of my favorite ones to make. I know I'm going to use that in my future classroom. Let's see, my next one was the podcasting episode. I love listening to podcasts, but I have never made my own, so this was fun to do. I made mine over Makerspaces, which are basically just areas where people can go to create or invent something, and they're very commonly set up in K through 12 and secondary schools in the libraries, but teachers have also been making little areas in their classrooms to set them up. So this is my podcast, and I'm gonna link my blog to the discussion board along with this video. So if you guys do want to go listen to anything or check out any of these projects that I've made, you can do that. All the links will be there. But that was my podcasting assignment over Makerspaces. And then my next one that I made was the digital storytelling project. I posted this on YouTube, but I chose to do my story over a story about Buddha and him teaching one of the Four Noble Truths, the truth of suffering, to one of his followers. I got this story from a book that I was given, and it's by Marvin Scott, and it's called Of Many Times and Cultures. It's so cool. It gives you different stories and myths and legends from all over the world. So I took this story and used raw shorts and made a little video. Raw shorts was definitely interesting to use. I'd never done it, but this is another thing that I think I would have my kids use to make some sort of project. But this was fun. It was fun getting to use my book, and I'll definitely be using raw shorts in the future. And let's see. Okay, my next assignment is the Google Tour Builder. When we did the geospatial visualization, I made one over Africa at night. I love using Google Earth, and I really love looking at images of areas around the world at night, and that's what I wanted to focus on with this tour builder. Was I'm wanting my students, while we're studying a certain region, take Africa for this example. Africa is made up of deserts and rainforests, and a lot of their land isn't habitable. So I wanted the students to understand that in a continent like this, most of the people live on the coast or near ports because of their physical geography. So I wanted students to go, obviously, to different places in Africa, and I want them to understand that themselves, why people live where they do in certain places. So that was fun, and I'll definitely use that in one of my classes. And let's see, this one was my favorite to make, the digital escape room. I'd made one in one of my classes last semester over China's cultural hearth, and this semester I wanted to make one about Africa's culture hearth, or Egypt. And so I called it Escape the Sphinx, and there's a clue with all the bold letters in the introduction paragraph. And you can also, there's 4 different clues hidden in this picture. And let's see, I'll show you guys one of them. So I gave them a hieroglyphic alphabet, and one of the clues they have to do is they have to solve this jigsaw puzzle, and it'll give them 4 different hieroglyphics, and they have to use this alphabet to spell it out. And it spells Nile, just Nile, because that goes along with what goes along with ancient Egypt, and they'll put all their different answers here. And this would be so fun for my students to do. I know students really love escape rooms, and they could do it as a group, and we'd use this as a review, because I have already set PowerPoints and presentations that I want them to, that I'll go over with them, and we'll take notes on it. And then this will be a review maybe at the end of this unit. So let's see. I have 2 more projects on here. Okay, yeah, my Google VR tour. I had never created anything VR, but Google is just awesome and makes everything so easy. So for mine, ours had to be over educational technology, and so in the first couple scenes, I was trying to explain what EdTech is and why it's beneficial. This is actually a picture of my house that I uploaded. A little messy. And I also included different areas of examples of how I would use this in my class. So this is the Terracotta Warriors, the Terracotta Army, and I would just talk about, show them what it is, and it's awesome that I can show them here where people actually went, and you can actually go and look at them. And then the other place I did was the National Mall in Washington, D.C., which this was fun because I haven't even been to Washington, D.C., so I learned a lot just by creating this scene. So this would be awesome, and these would be so fun in history classes or social studies classes, because you can take them anywhere around the world, and you basically go on a field trip with your class. And then my last project that I made was my final project. This one I'm going to use as a starting point in the future. I know I will. I wanted to make a research guide for teachers and students when they're starting their research papers. I targeted this at middle school students. I just picked a sample topic, which was violent video games and their effect on children. And I just kind of walked through how to create, different search strings and how to use your Boolean operators, and to the different domain suffixes of websites and how to know which one's credible. And I also went through the OSU library and showed them how to use EBSCO, because I know that's a popular database in middle schools and high schools. So this was awesome to make, and I know I will definitely use that in the future. I'm actually pretty confident that I'm going to use almost all of these projects in the future, and that's why it was so fun making all of them, because I know that they're going to be resources that my students can benefit from. So I really love this class, and I'm so glad I was able to make everything that I did. I've learned so much, and like I said, I'm going to put this as my final showcase, but I'll also link my blog if anyone wants to follow those links and look at it. Have a great rest of your year and summer.